Hello everyone, welcome back to online survey video tutorial on hydrology and irrigation engineering. We are continuing with the module 5, that is design of canal by a Lacey's method. So in the previous class, we have discussed the first method of design of canal, that is Kennedy's method. In this class, we are discussing on the design of canal by a Lacey's method. So let us see what is this Lacey's method, which is also called as Lacey's regime theory. The word regime is nothing but the stable. Okay, here Gerald Lacey have retired as a chief engineer from irrigation department, that is UP, in 1945, and he have carried out a detailed study of the problem of designing a stable channel, especially in alluvium, and have made a significant contribution to this subject. And he have developed a theory which is called as regime theory. Okay, and he have evolved a number of equations on the basis of his own observations. So whatever the observations he have made it. So he have developed the equation, and also whatever the investigations which are carried out by the earlier investigators. So he have considered those investigations also to develop his equation. And whatever the equation developed by Lacey have been widely accepted and is more popularly known as Lacey's regime theory. Let us see what is that theory. So here the dimensions, width, depth and slope of a regime channel, okay, stable channel, to carry a given discharge loaded with a given silt charge are all fixed by the nature. So basically the assumption what you have made is the dimensions, that is width, depth, slope of the stable channel, so which carries a given discharge, will be, all the dimensions will be fixed by the nature. So this idea was put forward by a Lacey. So whereas the Lindel's theory is also on the same concept, that is the dimensions were fixed by the nature, and he have succeeded in this theory, and he have evolved more generally applicable equations based on his experiments, and also based on the experiments which are carried out by the previous investigators. And so here basically he have defined some of the terms. Let us see what are those terms. A regime channel. See, he have defined a regime channel as a stable channel which transport a regime silt charge. Okay, a regime channel means, so according to Lacey, a regime channel is a stable channel transporting a regime silt charge. And we can say a channel to be regime, so if it is transporting water and sediment in equilibrium, so both the transport of water and the sediments, if it is in equilibrium, so that there will be no silting also, no scoring also, so that particular channel is said to be a regime channel, means no silting, no scoring. So there is an equilibrium in the transport of water and sediment. And also it can also be say a regime if it flows in an unlined incoherent alluvium of the same character as that transported, and the silt grade and silt charge are all constant. So let us see. So if the flow is occurring in unlimited incoherent alluvium, so let us see what is that incoherent alluvium. So incoherent alluvium means it is a soil composed of loose granular graded material. Okay, so which can be scored with the same ease with which it is deposited. So incoherent alluvium means it is nothing but a loose granular graded material. So if the flow is unlimited in that particular type of a material, so which has the same character as that of the transported by silt grade and silt charge, which are constant, then that particular channel is said to be a regime channel. And the next term is regime silt charge. What is this regime silt charge and regime silt grade? Silt charge means it is the minimum transported load consistent with a fully active bed, or we can say it is the weight of silt per unit volume of water. That is the silt charge. So silt charge means it is the weight of silt per unit volume. Silt grade means that that indicates the gradation. Grade means gradation. That is nothing but the size of the silt. So that is between small and bigger particles. So here you should not taken as the average mean diameter of the particle. So silt grade should not be considered as the average mean diameter of the particle. And the next term is regime condition. Okay, when we are going to say regime, the channel to be regime. So a channel is said to be regime when the following conditions satisfy. The first condition is a channel is flowing in a unlimited incoherent alluvium of the same character as that transported, and the silt grade and silt charge are to be constant, and discharge is also constant. So these are the conditions. If these conditions satisfy, then we can say a channel as an regime channel. And also it is whatever all the conditions which I've shown. So if all the conditions are satisfied, then we are going to say a channel to be in a true regime. So if all the three conditions satisfied, we are going to say channel is in true regime. So but however, in a practical cases, so all the three conditions will not satisfy. So what Lacy have done, so he have given an idea of initial and a final regime for an actual channel. What is that initial regime? See, initial regime is one of the conditions of attaining a regime of the channel, means the stability of the channel, is that there should be freedom for the channel to form its own section. That is the initial regime means. So whatever the stability of the channel which is going to attain at the initial stages, so that is called the initial regime. So it is a state of the channel that has formed its section, okay, formed its section only and not execute a longitudinal slope. So only initially means it will be formed his section, not the slope. That is called the initial regime. So final regime means, so when a channel is constructed with a defective slope means, so when it is given a slope, so it tries to throw off the incoherent silt on the bed to increase their slope. The final regime is, that is the condition, so where the channel forms its slope also. The before a final slope, so it should form its section and attains its slope also. So final regime means, so that is the state of channel after attaining its section and also the longitudinal slope. Initially means, so it attains only its section. So final regime means, so it attains its slope and section both. That is called the final regime. The permanent regime means, so when a channel is protected on the bed and also on the sides, like you provide some protecting material like concrete lining or brick lining, then that particular at that when you provide a protecting material, so what happens, the channel will not score also, and so there will be no cross section changes and no nor its longitudinal slope changes. So that particular condition is called permanent regime. Means, so you're providing a protecting material so that there is no scoring occurs, so that you cannot change the cross section and no need to change the slope also. That particular state is called the permanent regime. And here, so what Lacy have assumed, the natural silt transporting channels will have a tendency to assume a semi-elliptical section. So we have assumed the channel to be semi-elliptical section. Okay, so if the silt is coarser, then the greater is the waterway and depth will be narrow. So what we have assumed, so if the silt content is a coarser, then the greater waterway is required and also the depth will be narrow. And if the silt is finer, the channel is a semicircle and a greater depth is required. So that is what he have observed. So you can see the figure, the channel section, for coarser silt content and finer silt content. According to this Lacey's theory, you can see in the figure. So this is for a finer silt and this is for coarser silt content. And so if you construct a channel, if the channel is constructed with a small cross section for a given discharge and a steeper slope than required, score will occur till the final regime is attained. Means, see, if you construct a small channel with a small cross section for a given discharge and providing a steeper slope which is not required, okay, then what happens? So till the final stability attains, so the channel starts scoring. Similarly, if you construct a channel with a wider cross section and a flatter slope than the required, which is not required, so you are providing a flatter slope, then what happens? Silting will occur. So before attaining the final stability, there is a problem with the both. So scoring will occur. So when you construct a small cross section with a steeper slope, so which is not than the required, and also a wider cross section with a flatter slope than the required, then silting will occur. Okay, so Lacey have stated that silt is kept in suspension due to the force of vertical eddy. So Kennedy have also said that, and Lacey was also stated that silt should be kept in suspension, so because of the vertical eddies which is going to form. And according to the Lacey, eddies are generated both from the bed and also on the sides normal to the surface of generation. So but Kennedy have assumed only the silt, the eddies is going to form only from the bed of the channel, but here Lacey have considered both bed and also the sides of the channel. So hence the vertical component of eddy generated from the sides, so will also support the silt. So that is what the extra factor what he have considered, that is he have considered the silt generation from the sides of the channel also. So that's why he have assumed R as a variable, because where Kennedy have assumed the depth as a variable, okay, but Lacey have assumed the R, that is the hydraulic mean radius, as a variable. So since he assumed as a semi-ellipse as a cross section of a raging channel, and the assumption of R as a variable, so has a more logic compared to Kennedy's method. And so what are the equations? So the Lacey's have used, see, based on all the above observations what he have made. So what he have done, so he have plotted a large mass of data to obtain a relationship between velocity versus R and area versus velocity. So he have plotted two relationship between velocity and hydraulic mean radius and area and velocity. So he have also recognized the importance of silt factor, and also he have introduced silt factor which is called function F. F is a silt factor which he have introduced in his relation. So if you see, he have developed the equation V is equal to square root of 2 by 5 F into R, where R is the hydraulic mean radius, F is the silt factor, and which he have developed. And one more equation which he have developed between A and V, that is A into F square is equal to 140 into V to the power 5. So this is the two relationship what Lacey have developed based on his observations. Let us see how to design the canal by using a Lacey's method. So the step number 1 is you have to calculate the silt factor using F is equal to 1.76 square root of D mean. So where D mean is nothing but the average particle size of a silt in mm. And usually it varies from 0.05 for very fine silt and to 0.32 for a standard silt. So that is step number 1. Step number 2 is calculate the velocity v using that equation. V is equal to qf square divided by 140 whole to the power 1/6. Next, step number 3 is you have to calculate the area using the continuity equation q by v. Okay, because q will be given, velocity you'll get it from here, so you can get the area. And step number 4 is to calculate the perimeter using the equation p is equal to 4.75 square root of q. So you got the area and perimeter. Step number 5 is you have to calculate the width and depth of the channel using the values of area and perimeter, and assuming the side slope of the channel as 0.5 horizontal to 1 vertical, using the general equations of area and perimeter, that is A is equal to BD plus d square divided by 2, that is n d square. We have substituted the slope. So, and p is equal to b plus 2d root of 1 plus n square when n is 0.5. So, where you will get b plus d root 5. Using these two equation and the values of area and p from the previous step, you have to calculate width and depth. Okay, once you calculate the width and depth, calculate the hydraulic mean radius r is equal to a by p, and also r from the Lacey's equation, that is v is equal to square root of 2 by 5 f into r. Using this also you have to calculate the r, and these two hydraulic mean radius should be same. So that is a check value. So after calculating those, step number 7 is you have to calculate the slope s. Okay, using the equation s is equal to f to the power 5 by 3 divided by 3340 into q to the power 1 by 6. Okay, so that is the slope value which you're going to calculate. So this is the procedure how you're going to design the canal using the Lacey's method. And here I know if you see this procedure, step-by-step procedure, there is no trial and error method. So that is one of the advantage. Whereas Kennedy have used the Kutter's equation to calculate the mean velocity, and also when the value of n was assumed arbitrarily, and but Lacey have given its own flow equation so to determine the mean velocity. So as you see in the previous slide. Let us see what are the drawbacks in this Lacey's theory. So the first is the characteristics of the regime channel are not precisely defined, and true regime condition as given by Lacey are just theoretical. That is the three conditions: silt charge, silt grade, discharge constant. So those conditions are theoretical. So you cannot achieve those conditions in a practically. And the derivation of various formulae so depends upon the single factor, that is f, and dependency of single factor f is not adequate. Okay, so that is one of the drawback. And also there are different phases of flow on bed and sides, and hence different values of silt factor for bed and side should have been used, but we have used a single factor, and we have not included the concentration of silt, and we have not properly defined what is the silt grade and silt charge, and we have not included the silt charges also in this equation, and the effect of silt accumulation was also ignored, and the silt size does actually go on decreasing by the process attrition among the, means the attrition is nothing but the rolling, due to the rolling of silt particles one by one. What happens, the erosion of the silt material will happen, so that is called attrition. So because of that, as the flow occurs, the silt size will go on decreases along the bed. So, and also we have not taken into account the silt which is left in channel by a water that is lost in absorption, so which is as much as 12 to 15% of the total discharge of the channel. So, and also we have introduced the semi-ellipse as an ideal shape of a regime channel, which is not correct. So those are the drawbacks of this Lacey's regime theory. And let us see the comparison between these two methods, that is Kennedy's and the Lacey's method. So if you see the comparison, so in case of Kennedy's method, so you have proposed a relation between V and D, whereas Lacey's have proposed a relation between V and R. And Kennedy have stated that silt carried by flowing water is kept in suspension by vertical component of the eddies, which are generated from the bed of the channel. So you have considered only the formation of eddies from the bed of the channel, whereas Lacey's have considered the silt carried by the flowing water is kept in suspension by the eddies formed both on the bed of the channel and also the wetted perimeter. And Kennedy have used a factor that is critical velocity factor, so in his equation, whereas Lacey have introduced silt factor F in his equation, and Kennedy did not provide any equation for a regime velocity, but he have just adopted the Kutter's equation, but Lacey have given a definite equation to find out the mean velocity, and Kennedy did not specify any regime slope, but Lacey have specified about the regime slope for a given discharge and for a given silt factor. And also in Kennedy's theory, it is based on the trial and error method, where that is not there in case of Lacey's method. It is not involved any trial and error process. And Kennedy, the basic theoretical concept of silt transportation is same as that of Lacey's. Okay, that is, eddies generated from the sides are ignored. So whereas in case of Lacey's, the theoretical concept is involved that the eddies is formed by the friction against the wetted perimeter. So the same concept was used, theoretical concept is same. And Kennedy have considered the section to be trapezoidal, but Lacey have considered the channel to be semi-elliptical, and Kennedy have used the section is a wider and a shallower. So whereas in case of Lacey's method, the section is tighter and deeper. And according to the Kennedy, channels are said to be regime when they are neither in silt nor in sport. So whereas the Lacey's have defined channel to be true regime when they are when the silt grade and silt charges are constant, and when the flow is occurring in unlimited incoherent alluvium. And also it cannot be say true regime, and hence you have classified the initial and final regime. And this Kennedy's method can be applicable to irrigation channels, whereas Lacey's method is applicable to irrigation as well as rivers. And the last differences between these two methods are, Kennedy have not considered the importance of bed to width ratio, that is B by D ratio, whereas Lacey have given definite formula for the wetted perimeter for a given discharge. And in case of Kennedy's method, there can be many sections for a given discharge, but Lacey's method, only one regime section is possible for a given discharge. So these are the differences between these two methods. Thank you all. Let us continue in the next class.